Hello, my name is Meg. Some of you may know me as Megsoundslikegg or FNATIC Meg, and I am a content creator and streamer in the world of esports. I was a lockdown baby in terms of in the esports world. I picked up gaming alongside my sister. She's been working in esports for a good few years now, sort of more behind the scenes. She's like a community manager and stuff like that. So I was very aware of like the whole industry, the whole world. She was also a partner streamer, and yeah, in lockdown, she came home, invested in a big PC, and I had a go on it. And I was like, oh, this feels good. I came across a few games that I really got on well with, and then I decided to invest my whole sort of lockdown savings in a PC myself. Just gamed casually for a few sort of months. I've grown up in gaming as well. The end of 2020 was kind of when I really got into streaming, content creation, and I found that I kind of had a knack for it, and I really, really enjoyed it as well. So that was kind of the start of my journey. Coming out of lockdown, I think everyone had a lot of time on their hands in lockdown, and it was all very crazy, and we'd never experienced anything like it before. So it was sort of as we started to return to normal life that I realized that I was still getting excited to get home from work and stream. Like I wanted to be pursuing it as a job. Like I was super creative, still just enjoying the whole moment. So that was kind of when I started to take it a bit more seriously and look at it as a viable career option. I kind of have always done a lot of things for fun, and they've been hobbies that have turned into careers. So I knew I could make it work. It was just more like I wanted to make sure I was doing it for the right reasons, in the right ways. But yeah, just the minute that we kind of resumed with normal life and I was still keeping up with it, still sort of streaming 5 times a week, I was like, clearly, I enjoy this, and let's make a go of it. Let's see what we can do with it. I feel like I've been incredibly lucky and fortunate, and I've had sort of opportunities come to me, and also on the other hand, I've sought out opportunities. In terms of like any sort of things I've had to overcome along the way, I feel like a lot of that has just come from me. I feel like we are always our own worst critics, and a lot of people will relate to having imposter syndrome and not really believing that like you're good enough to do something. So sort of everything that I've had to overcome along the way has been like with myself, and sort of reassuring myself that no, I am good enough to do this. No, I am making the right decisions. That's kind of the main thing that springs to mind when you ask that question, because again, I feel incredibly lucky and fortunate to be where I am today. And a lot of that, has been through hard work, but also right place, right time, networking as well. But yeah, just that's the only kind of thing I think that stands out in terms of things I've had to overcome. Just myself. So I mean, January 2023 was crazy. It was just like everything happened at once. I managed to get partnered on Twitch. Then also I announced that I was joining FNATIC as a Valorant content creator, and also I announced that I was hosting Charlotte Tilbury's new Twitch channel. So that was all in the space of January. This has been the most crazy sort of part of my journey so far, I would say, and the most enjoyable and crazy and chaotic in the best kind of way. So I feel like, I've been working up towards these moments, and now they've finally come into fruition, and I can talk to people about it. But yeah, so just those kind of 3 things that happened in January are definitely the best moments for me so far. I'd like to still be doing all at once, because it's a lot to sort of juggle, but I feel like I'm finding my feet now with FNATIC, and then my own streams, and then Charlotte Tilbury streams. I'd like to continue growing, still doing stuff creatively, and like coming up with new ideas, and I absolutely adore my community as well, and I want to keep making sure that I show up for them and providing them with like really good content, and yeah, just keep going, really. Just keep going and like strive for obviously more, but at the same time I'm content, I'm quite happy. So we'll see where the wind takes us. I'm very much that kind of person where I'm like, good things will come, good things will happen in time, so just live your life and do as much as you possibly can and live it to your best, and then those things will happen. So we'll see. I don't know, it was just a lot of networking. I was friends with a few people that were sort of in the FNATIC scene. I had a presence online, and it just sort of again was something that I was approached with. I never went looking for it. I always was open to the opportunity, but it was just like it just fell in my lap in a way. Of course, a lot of that was from just making sure that I had a presence and that I was meeting new people and making myself known online. But yeah, literally, they just came to me, threw about the idea. Of course, I was like, hell yeah, because I loved FNATIC even before joining them. You know, I'm very passionate about the pro side of esports as well, very involved in like Valorant Game Changers, Valorant just regular pro scene as well. So showing up to events, networking, making my name known was kind of how I became known to them. And then, yeah, the rest was sort of done from their end. I think it was a bit surreal. I honestly still now sit here and I'm like, oh my God, little old me, you know, FNATIC Meg. It feels very, very surreal still. And I think when I really recognize the actual weight that name holds is when I go out to like network with people, or if I'm going out with friends and they're like, oh my God, you joined FNATIC, that's huge. Because I think when I was approached with it, it was months before I could announce it, so it was kind of months of just keeping it to myself, doing prep for it, kind of like prepping the announcement video, and it didn't feel real. And then I announced it, and that was kind of when everyone was like, Meg, this is massive. And I was like, I know, I think I've been living in my own world for the past few months. So it just, again, it feels surreal, but like now it's becoming more normal, and I'm like really enjoying just having sort of a little community, a little home. And FNATIC has the most amazing community of people as well, and they've been so welcoming and so lovely, and come into my streams, and yeah, it's really, really nice, and it's sort of now just becoming a bit more normal. I wonder if I'm naive to it all, because I feel like I'm a very confident woman, like in the sense of I know what kind of content I personally want to put out, what I want to be as a brand or image. You know, like obviously content creation is this wild thing to talk about, because essentially, you know, it's you and it's the real you, but you're still in a way putting stuff out there as if it's like you deal with sponsors, you do all these crazy things. And I just think that like I very much have an idea as to what I want to put out, the way I want to be perceived, and I've always been like that. Like there's been a few times along the way where maybe I've taken on like a sponsorship that isn't really for me, and I've recognized that very quickly and then just rectified it and like not done that again. But with content creation, you have to be yourself. You know, sometimes people are like, oh, I need to be like so and so, or I need to do this kind of content, and I'm always the kind of person who says, just if you want to become a streamer or a content creator, just start streaming, just do it, be your true whole self, and then you'll kind of find your feet from there, and you'll find the kind of person you want to be in the world, because you can't just churn out content that isn't right for you. I feel like for me, I have to be myself when I'm doing it. I have to be happy with it. I can't put stuff out that doesn't feel like me. So I feel like, yeah, with content creation, you just got to do it, find your feet, be yourself, and good things will come from there, because you can't just rock up and be this complete brand, this complete image. You can't maintain it, and you can't go into content trying to be someone else as well. So yeah, I'm very much now, when I first started streaming, I was very like conscious of the way I looked, or like, you know, I'd always be like fidgeting and stuff, and I still do now, don't get me wrong, but like I very much now, I have my whole layout set out. I have like my idea as to what I want to tweet out or what I want to announce when I go live, and then I just sit and I go. Like it's very stress-free now, and it's very simple, it's very calm. Just because I'm happy with who I am. Like I'm not super sort of overthinking everything before I go live. You kind of just, for me, it's just go live and then go from there. Like I don't worry about tech issues, I don't worry about the way I look as such. I just very much click go live. It's quite boring. I know this is probably going to sound cliche, but just do it. I think it's very easy to watch other people doing it and go, oh, I wish I could do that. But until you do it yourself, you don't know if it's right for you. And instead of just sitting there and umming and ahhing, just do it. Just see if it is the right thing for you, because it could be, and then it could completely change your life. You know, you could enter a world of content creation in esports, in gaming, and just have the best time of your life. But until you do that, you don't know. Because I think as well, you know, I have a lot of people who come up to me and they're like, I really want to start streaming, and then they do it and it's not 100% for them. You know, they don't enjoy parts of it and they don't want to do it, and that's absolutely fine. But until you do it, you just don't know. And then I've had, on the other hand, people who have said, oh, I really want to start streaming. They do it, have the best time ever, and they run with it, and then they find, you know, other avenues off the back of it, or they just go full force with the content creation and the streaming, and yeah, good things come from that. So be comfortable with the idea of being uncomfortable temporarily. Like, just do it. It won't feel right, like 100% right when you start doing it, but the more you do it, the more natural it will feel, the more comfortable you'll become. Or on the other hand, you'll just go, nah, this ain't for me, chef, and then you'll go and do something else. So yeah, that's kind of my main advice. Oh, it's amazing. And I mean, the relationship that me and mum have now is so good, because like we have this common ground like that we can talk about, and we've always had a good relationship, but this was kind of like the level up, because, you know, we had stuff to kind of like do together and giggle about, and yeah, it was just really amazing to kind of introduce her to my community, to the world. She's such a fabulous woman. I struggled with confidence growing up, but she was the reason that I kind of like ended up not giving a shit like about a lot of things, because she was like, you are you, be you, it doesn't matter what other people think, just focus on what you think of yourself and be kind to yourself. She's such a positive energy, and I was so excited for people to meet her and get to know her in that sense. And I think that's really resonated with a lot of people, and definitely come across like she brings so much joy to people's lives. And she's actually started her own stream now, because she is a professionally trained mental health consultant, which I feel very lucky to have had a mum who understands mental health and is very good with it. I like to call her our mental health mother. Like, she is there for a lot of people, and yeah, she just talks about it on her stream really casually, and she's just fab. She's just fab, and I'm so glad that it happened, because it wasn't intended to be a thing. It was just like a really random stream where she came on and we were like, oh, this will be funny, and then it kind of grew into something that was so much more. And she's a good egg. I love her 100%. Like, it is rife online at the moment. I don't know if it's the anonymity or if people feel like they can say anything online, but the toxicity online for me was something that was a shock, because I wasn't very present online growing up. I didn't sort of really get involved with like being online until I was about 21. So it was a massive shock for me. But at the same time, I think I very much, the minute I heard it for the first time, I was like, I'm not having that. I'm not having that. You can't be saying that online. So I knew the minute that I kind of heard my first bout of toxicity that I was like, yeah, let's talk about this. This is not normal. It still continues to this day, and I've found ways to cope with it myself. You know, it's more that I worry for younger women and younger people who are now entering the space, and the things that they have to hear at that younger age. I feel like it's just so extreme that I want to fight these battles for them, because for me it doesn't affect me at this point. Like, sometimes it will, but the majority of the time I'm just like, grow up, in a sense. Like, I'm like, it's not something that affects me too much. I just want to make sure that, you know, we're standing up for ourselves, and we're making sure that we have the power, you know, that we're not being made to feel vulnerable online by people who shouldn't be saying those things. Very much put myself in their shoes. I think to say a lot of the things that I hear online, you have to be in quite a negative headspace yourself. You have to be quite, I don't know, I just feel like quite sad in a sense. And I do worry for the people that say it online, because I'm like, how are you? Like, do you need someone to talk to, in a sense? Because that, what you're saying right now, is not normal, it's not kind, it's not nice, but at the same time, I don't want them to have the power. So what I will kind of do is completely turn it on the back, and I will kind of like make it so that I'm not in charge, but that make it clear that what they're saying doesn't affect me and it doesn't matter. And the effort that it is requiring for them to come and talk to me and say these things is pointless, because it's not going to work. It's not going to affect me. And I will stand up for myself, and I will say stuff back, like, obviously not to the extreme, but in the sense of, let me put it this way. At the moment, I found blaring jingle farts, which is just like jingle bells, but a fart version, down my mic, works. I don't know why. I think they're just so shocked. They're like, why is she playing this fart soundtrack down the mic? This is so weird. And it completely shuts them up, because I just think that, like, I don't think they realize that a lot of people don't care at this point. You know, I think they feel like they have this power and they're these big guns online, and then the minute someone's like, bro, shut up, like, it's not that deep, move on. Like, I don't know, I like to find humor in things, I guess, as well. I find that is my coping mechanism. So it's just finding what's right for you. If you want to mute and just live your life, do it. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong in that, but for me personally, I feel like the more that I stand up for myself and the more goofy, silly stuff that I do to make them feel a little powerless, the better in my eyes. I think it just does really come to, like, the new generation now coming in. I think it's really difficult because of some of the people that they have to look up to online. I just think it's calling people out, and I do think a lot of this comes now from male culture as well. You know, I encourage my boyfriend to call people out when he hears these things, because I think it's very natural across, like, women and LGBTQ plus people to call it out because they hear it often, but for men maybe not so much. So I think now it really has to come from them to be like, this isn't okay, let's not do this isn't appropriate online, because I don't think they understand the power that they hold with calling it out, because a lot of it does come from sort of that toxic masculinity and, like, you know, misogyny and homophobia and transphobia. All of these things that are said very casually online hold so much weight. Like, their words hold so much weight, and I don't think they understand the consequence behind what they're saying. And as much as I've tried to call these people out and say, don't say these things, it's crazy how when I say it and when a man says it, the difference in response, you know. So I now, as frustrating as it is, I do think it's very much the time to start encouraging men to call this behaviour out, because it literally will make the world of difference. And we will still continue to do what we do. We will still not tolerate it. We will still stand up for ourselves. But for me personally, that is kind of something I'm really encouraging now. If I ever get any sort of younger males in my games, you know, or like just in life online, I'm happy to have the conversation. Like, I'm not there to educate you, but I will have the conversation with you, and just opening up that door to being able to change. You know, like, if your behavior as a 14-year-old boy isn't the best and the most accepted, understanding that that's not appropriate to say, and let's educate ourselves and let's, you know, grow as people, and empowering them in a way to be able to change. So yeah, that's kind of like my next step. And then at the same time, still creating a safe space for female and marginalized genders in my own stream for them to come to if they experience anything, and I can hopefully help instill confidence in them to be like, you know, you're not the problem here, and you know, it's okay to feel crappy about what they said, and it's not okay what they said, but, you know, let's work on some ways to maybe fight your case and, like, you know, just make you feel safe online.